Welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything's working. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, your local game guy with local game co-host Will.
Sup?
Hey dude, how's your week?
Crazy and busy. We're finally in the fast season for my work.
Nice. And to you viewers, if you're tuning in now or already with us, how's your week? Genuinely curious with all of the Magic news. Obviously, there's some older news we're going to touch on today, and then some newer stuff we want to break into. Just have discussion with you guys. This is a Q&A segment as well, so if there's any questions oriented towards the Commander format, anything we don't bring up and you want to talk about, feel free to let us know. Obviously, if you have your own opinions on these topics we're going to be discussing today, feel free to share. But we're going to be discussing just general updates, things like these change to sagas, the updates to the Commander format, what you have accessible as legendaries in the command zone, and sort of where that came from. I think it's described pretty finely in a video Gavin released 4 or 5 days ago. We'll be discussing the new formats that are available at your WPN stores or anywhere that hosts Magic the Gathering tournaments officially. And then, of course, we'll touch on very briefly. The Discord sort of discussed it. I didn't really have too many thoughts on it. I know Mateus had plenty. If you're watching, the 11-hour game.
Mix.
So
it's
this
be
is
a mix
something
between the 11-hour game and also.
Have any strong feelings about? I mean,
play.
that sounds like a long game. You have the expectation that CEDH, or in this instance, a tournament EDH, would end in 11 minutes. But we'll get to that when we get to that. It's probably the last thing we'll discuss before we close this one out. But, yeah. Any fun new decks you built? Well,
I've been too busy to build stuff. If I quickly hop on the Mox field,
oh, you were muted, sir.
Oh,
did I
I'm
mute
muted?
you?
No, what? Hold on. Can you hear me
Still
right
muted.
now? Or
still muted?
Okay, hold on.
I can't hear you. You get double pat for now.
There we go. Am I back?
Still muted.
Am I back?
You know what? Keep speaking.
Yes.
Well, maybe the audience can hear you and it's just me, because for whatever reason I can't hear you right now. I was hearing you just fine. Yeah, I'm getting an audio signal from you. I'm going to switch to my headset. See, this is why we do the show before the show. Hi, Tylor. Are you a free run fan? You excited for when we get free run in Magic the Gathering?
Let's go. I mean,
I don't think we're far from that. Why don't we start with that just as a topic? We've gotten Final Fantasy obviously released, and chat can hear. That's good. That's all that's important. Doesn't matter if I can hear Will. I'm sure he's just spitting some nonsense. No, give me 1 second. Every time I use these to do this, there's always a hiccup. Will, let me see if I can hear you. Okay.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
I can indeed.
There we go.
So, how do we feel about just a standard legal heavy hitting IPs like Final Fantasy and Magic the Gathering? I know there's been some discourse about this ever since The Walking Dead. They've clearly showed no signs of stopping. As a matter of fact, this year is, it feels like predominantly Universes Beyond. But I don't know if you guys have any feelings on this, but I don't necessarily... why is that there? I don't necessarily mind the use of other IPs in this game. For me, it's always just been a vehicle for, creative expression, like the storytelling, all that stuff behind the cards doesn't quite matter to me as much as the game and its mechanics. Like, you could really slap any coat of paint on this game and I'm going to enjoy it. I don't know if you have any serious feelings about that, though, Will. I mean, do you want free run in Magic the Gathering? That's what I'm asking.
I'm fine with anything as long as it kind of feels Magic the Gathering-esque. Like, if somebody breaks out SpongeBob in Magic the Gathering, I'm just going to be like, okay, cool. But if it's something that it feels fantasy or sci-fi or something that could exist in the Magic the Gathering universe to some extent, I'd be like, okay, it fits. It's not trying to be like super jokey. it feels like it fits, I'm cool with it. Final Fantasy is a good example. It's just like a somewhat sci-fi, mostly fantasy set. It's just wizards, mages, and warriors doing their thing, and the occasional gun sword.
And the occasional warlock. Hey
Yeah,
yo, looking at you, Matoya. Actually, I love the idea of having a cube for each individual Universes Beyond set. That's kind of dope. Like if you're a fan of a specific intellectual property, like Final Fantasy, for instance, that's kind of
yeah.
dope.
Taylor kind of put it in a way that I do agree with. I think that Magic is best as a rules engine versus a Lord Porter, or sorry, deep.
More deep property. Yeah.
It, yes,
I'm with you. I saw it. I read it. Should really join
Lord deep property.
the Discord to share it. You should and can. There's a link to the Discord in the description to anyone tuning in now. I have, again, no strong feelings about this. I love the game. I've always loved the game. I'm going to love it no matter what coat of paint they slap on it. Well, maybe within limitations, but
Yeah,
let's.
I, I'm not a fan of like the SpongeBob thing. I'm like, okay, people get secret layers to do
But
funny,
that
goofy
is
things, but I'm like,
specifically Secret Lair, right? Like there isn't a
it
SpongeBob
it
set.
is a secret layer. Like I'm fine with Spider-Man. Spider-Man artistically feels like it kind of fits.
Oh.
Same with the Avengers or Marvel universe stuff. I'm like, okay, it feels like it fits enough that I'm cool with it because artistically they made it fit. I don't think there's any way that you can build or like design a grungy SpongeBob looking art that feels like it fits with Magic the Gathering.
No, not really. But again, is it going to bring new people to the game? I think for the briefest of whiles, yes. Like it will sell more products inadvertently, not inadvertently, very
Yes,
specifically targeting people with product like
more
that.
people to pub stomp.
I mean, at least for that weekend, and then they're probably done. They're like, oh shit, my SpongeBob deck didn't work. I guess I'm kind of done with this, but at least I've got the cool cards, right? That's
Yeah,
the other crappy part because like a lot of fans of this game enjoy these other properties. So whether or not the card warrants the price tag you're seeing in the aftermarket, like there are buyouts and there are people trying to make a dollar off of this. So especially with Final Fantasy as a recent example, you've just seen the prices blow up on certain alt arts, and it's kind of annoying. Thankfully, most of the cards are pretty cheap, the ones you need to play with, but uh, yeah, it's like any other TCG where there's that collectible aspect. But the first thing we're going to touch on is the saga change. Will, if you want to recap that for everyone.
so, for those who don't know, I'm not going to read off the article, even though I do have it in front of me. With the with the advent of saga creatures, they realized, hey, that whole weird blood moon interaction is kind of crappy. Where if you make a saga lose all of its abilities, it is still a saga, but it has 0 chapters. Since the saga has 0 or more counters on it, it says, hey, my chapter counters are equal to the number of chapters I have or greater, and then I'm going to sacrifice myself because I've reached the maximum chapter. Now they've made it where if a saga has no chapters on it, it will not sacrifice itself. It says, hey, I got no chapters. I'm ignoring this. So if you get Blood Mooned now, you keep around your Ursa Saga, and for all of your Final Fantasy flip commanders, if they get humility, they'll stick around.
Yeah. Yeah, these
And
saga creatures that were introduced with this set.
yeah, we got a good amount, and I have I think one saga commander that I'm building, which is Jetched Reluctant Guardian, and I'm building it as just a way to make my friends suffer.
Dude, he's also just
I
a sick leader, honestly.
Yeah, and I also want to say one thing I didn't think of: Thane the Broker, Fain the Broker, is
Hmm.
really good with summons, like disgustingly so. Because
It's Fayn. How do you spell
uh,
Fane?
Fain.
That's right. Sacrifice a creature. Oh, oh, oh.
Remove a counter from a creature you control and then get a treasure counter. Keep the Saka going and get mana for it.
Did he's still only 50 cents? Yeah, get yourself a
Yeah,
copy of Fane, I guess. I mean,
really good with summons.
Yeah, mono black. Is he in the helm or is he just in the body?
Probably just in the body. He's just another 99 card to throw in because it's like, hey, if you're going to search up Hex Parasite to keep your Saga commander going, why not find Fane instead?
Hell yeah, dude. Create a treasure for that too. What a good body.
Also, you can
Untapping
use him
Broker.
multiple times. Like, you can untap him to tap him again. So if you really need to, like, tick down a lot, you can.
Remove the lore. Well, what? Who is it that he can't place counters right now? Well, he can place +2/+2
I think
counters.
he can do +1/+1s. He can't proliferate though.
2+1/+1s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, what's her name? Terra. Terra would have been kind of cool with this, but you don't really need to keep her on the backside, do you?
Not
We
really.
we
There's specifically Spark Double Terra is a whole thing with the backside, but
yeah, we never flipped Terra in our build of Terra.
what is
By
it?
the
It's like
way,
7 or 8 mana. Like, it might only be 6 mana, but still so mana intensive to flip Terra.
yeah, I'm trying to find her. What is her name? What is her last name? Okay, it doesn't matter. I think it's Terra with 2 R's, anyways.
Yeah,
What
it is.
about Goldberry? What about Goldberry? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, so far as
Goldberry is
like,
also pretty fun because Goldberry can remove counters from I think a permanent and then move them to her, and then she can also move counters from her to a permanent. So she does the same thing very well. But Thane makes you mana, so he's a dork that does it.
yeah, Goldberry is 2 CMC though. I do appreciate that. You'll put this down a little bit
Yeah,
quicker. The saga will also retain any chapter abilities it gains, such as the is in the case of Urza's saga on chapter 2 with Blood Moon would be a mountain that makes constructs.
correct. That is also a detail.
Yeah, kind of a good one too. I mean, obviously, if you've ever had to use that second chapter on Urza's saga, it was desperate times. But if your list uses artifacts, at least in a commander setting, if your list uses artifacts, you're gonna have some pretty big constructs. I'll always appreciate Luris, any Luris card. Yeah, what with
I will say the
Goldberry.
weakness
Yeah.
of Goldberry is that she can only put counters on her that she doesn't already have on her. So
Mm,
you can't just keep pulling the saga counters onto her. You can only pull one, then you have to move it. So you remove a saga counter every other turn.
that's fair enough, I guess. I'm in the camp of appreciating the Luris card. Also, this is probably one of my favorite pieces of art from this set. It's just sad that I have no use for Goldberry. I have a copy sitting in this room somewhere. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, I mean, you can do some funny, dumb things with Goldberry. Like you could go infinite with Magosi the Water Veil, but now you have Go-Go, so why would you do that?
Yeah, it's just a little bit better at that. Is Go-Go also 2 CMC as well?
Three. Go-Go's three.
For the mono blue one? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I do want to say though, I watched a gameplay video of casual Go-Go playing, and Lord, did that deck cook?
Was it good?
Yeah, because it turns out that if you just have fetch lands and you just go hold up all my mana on your end step, crack my fetch, pay 6 mana into it, I'm gonna get 4 lands into play.
So just mad ramp.
Yeah,
Well,
it
with
is an
everything
insane
else.
ramp deck that just goes. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna play Spellbomb, activate Spellbomb, draw a card, copy it, draw 5 cards. I'm gonna do that instant speed.
Have you built your own Go-Go yet? Have
Not
you
yet,
built
but
your
no,
own
I want
Go-Go
to.
yet? Sorry. That was to the audience. I'm curious. Yeah, if you guys have any Final Fantasy legendaries you're building, let us know. We are probably still going to build more because there's a ton. I
Yeah,
kind of want to do Kane next.
he's gonna be a fun casual one. I love
Yeah,
him. I
no,
mean,
for
you could
sure.
build. I still stand by the fact you can build competitive Kane with Doomsday.
I don't disagree. But speaking of collecting Doomsday cards to put on the top of your deck, how about we talk about Edge of Eternities with a first look? So sagas, some new stuff happened. But more importantly for us commander players, this article talks about it, and of course, Team MTG has talked about this in a few instances. But we're getting a new artifact type with Spacecraft, and this was a concept they had in mind for believe it was over a year, and it was intended to release with Duskmorn, if I'm not mistaken. You'll remember there's some legendary vehicles in that set, but they did postpone like the launch of this rules change. However, spacecrafts and vehicles each are available as commanders, right? So they don't need to read like Shorakai does, that you can have this in the command zone. Just every vehicle and every spacecraft with the release of Edge of Eternity will be ruled into play for the CZ. And the philosophy here, at least from what I understand, is that it has, attack and defense values. So close enough is I think where they came in agreement with us.
Attack and defense values, and they haven't made a broken legendary vehicle yet. I
No,
think, funnily enough, I think they said the most powerful legendary vehicle is Shorakai, and it can already be your commander. And there's one other legendary vehicle that might be stronger than Shorakai. Actually, one legendary vehicle that is stronger than Shorakai, but it's not completely disgusting. It's relatively fair. If we want to talk about vehicles that we thought were interesting and potential brew rounds, I'll let you start, Patrick, because I think you know the one you want to talk about.
Well, it's on the screen now, I guess. So yeah, let us know if you have any builds in mind yet, or if you've been working on anything for vehicles or spacecraft. I don't think that any of these are going to really do anything crazy in a competitive setting, but I do think in a casual setting that these are really cool effects. Spacecrafts, they don't necessarily crew. They have a separate function. You can read it on screen now. But once they're...
It's station, which is basically you can crew with the creature, but instead of needing to get to high enough power, whatever you crew into it just puts charge counters on it, and once it hits the charge counter limit, it becomes a creature.
Right, and so to Tyler's point, it is interesting. They did specifically state anything that had a power and toughness box. So if that's the running philosophy, we could potentially see other legendary things become playable in the CZ, which I honestly don't mind. I like options. Like more is more in my book, especially with games. And if they need to dial it back, then that's why they have a committee working on balancing this format. So let's just push this as far as it can go, and then any changes that need to be made can be made in time. That's usually how I feel about these things.
I'm just saying, what is loyalty if not just power and toughness manifested in one number? All planeswalkers become commanders. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, doesn't Gideon have stat? No, Gideon becomes a thing with stats. Yeah, he doesn't just have those stats, Nat. I love, dude, Gideon. He's good in cube. I don't think he would be good in the CZ. Any one of them. I still got that stained glass Gideon art. It looks so damn good.
There's the board wipe Gideon that could potentially be a disgusting commander, and there's the you can't lose the game Gideon that could be very annoying.
Actually, that one,
you have to kill a 4/4.
Dude, I love that shit. Well, it's not an emblem, it's just like static on him, right? It's like the top line.
It's an emblem that says as long as you control a Gideon, you can't lose the game.
Oh, I thought it was just on the body as well. Maybe I'm mistaken. Well, okay, well, we'll wait till they actually soft launch.
It is a +0 emblem.
Okay.
Like, it happens immediately.
Yeah. Have you seen the zombie Gideon? Damn it.
What?
Okay, I guess we're looking at Gideon now. No, I haven't. I'm assuming that this is an alt art of one of the planeswalkers. The popular one is the one that Will's talking about. So no, I have this copy. And hot damn.
Oh, is it the Zendikar one?
The Zendi one.
What is this?
Oh, this one?
I don't know what this is from, but yeah, there's a zombie Gideon art that's out there.
Gideon ally of Zendikar?
Yeah, there's a Gideon ally of Zendikar that has like a zombie hand.
Dude, that's gnarly.
Is this an actual thing?
Apparently.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
what is that from?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've got a couple of Gideons. I guess I'm a fan. But I do have that the San Diego Comic Con version. Yes, obviously. It was Comic Con Pro from Eldritch Moon. Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's sick. I didn't really like the all black promos for these planeswalkers, but you know what? If they
Oh
become
yeah, the super dark art versions.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was like black text, black card convention promo. All right, that makes
and
sense.
people got me so hyped that Gideon was coming back, and then just not.
No, he's straight dead. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want him back. He's the best planeswalker.
So with this update to Magic the Gathering coming for Commander, we briefly, Will and I, took a look at the vehicles that pre-exist, and there aren't that many that really break the mold. The main one I would say is this: is it Galleon, the Jackdaw? Jackdaw is pretty good. I
Jackdaw was
think,
cracked.
yeah, you can have some fun with things like Escus Chariot, and it's just important to note that yes, while this has attack and defense values, in a lot of cases these vehicles like don't self crew or produce the pilots or bodies necessary to crew them, at least amongst the legendaries that exist. So your body is going to have to consist of things that crew this. It's not like having a creature in the CZ that just does the thing. And I would say that artifact removal is pretty damn close to the amount of creature removal you'll see in a typical deck. So it's not like this is much more flexible or difficult to hit or target from your opponent than, say, a creature would be. I would, again, love it if we make the change to Planeswalkers. I feel like people have wanted that for a long time. I don't know if they've tested that, but I'd be curious to see if that change comes. But yeah, Jackdaw is kind of cool, man. Like, whenever you deal...
It's funny. I think they have tested it for planeswalkers, and they said it would be completely fine as long as they didn't make Tezzeret the Seeker legal.
All right, we'll take
No,
his ass out. That's okay.
I think that's the only one that they've had problems with, as far as I've seen.
It's mono blue, man. Come on. I'm not worried about Tezzeret
Well,
the Seeker.
it's Arkham Daxon, but cracked. Like, you don't need to run random artifact creatures, you just do the thing.
You play him, you do the thing, and the thing is likely going to be getting the One Ring in this instance.
And he also can do stuff with the Chain Veil to just go infinite, but you just need enough rocks or big enough rock to go infinite.
To do the untapped. Yeah, so it's basically like Teferi.
Mm-hmm. He's the one that they've said is problematic.
Yeah, but like,
also...
just I don't know. It's mono blue, dude. I feel like I don't know. I don't. I guess it can go off, but
there's
you can cut this shit down.
Who's the Moonfolk lady again? Ty something.
Hold up.
Tamio.
Tamio. Simic Moonfolk lady.
She has either a Bant or a Simic version as an alt that's omniscience, and they found that was problematic back in the day when they were initially looking at it. And the reason why is because you just run doubling season effects, then you go, okay, Tamio, insta alt, omniscience, draw some cards, game.
Is it white and green that have the doubling season effects now?
It's at least blue and green. It may also be white.
Oh no, that's fine. I mean, like, you just need one of those effects online before you play the Planeswalker, and you're good. PS16 Skyfall, search for the zombie.
Oh. It is Bant. It's Bant Tamio. She's 3-color. She also just has a really good +1 that draws you cards.
Yeah, this is the one. These are... Whoa. This is like Liliana raising them all from the dead. I remember the Chandra one when this came out. I thought this was the coolest looking one. Sorry, we're still looking at the zombie characters, dude. Actually, Nis is pretty dope too.
I will say, I'd be very happy if we did get legendary creature, or if we did get planeswalkers as commanders, because there are just a lot of very cool planeswalkers that would make random decks viable.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Golgari Grook that you can sack a creature to tutor for a creature, which is really cool. Tutor to hand, unfortunately, but that's still a really good toolbox effect.
What about there's like a birthing pod one. What's her name? The Archer.
Yeah, I can never remember her name.
Neither can I, but she was useful in Selvala. Pretty useful.
Yeah.
Shit.
I think
she'd be good in the CZ.
She's not too scary as a commander by
No.
herself because her usual combo is Felidar Guardian. You get Felidar Guardian and then Karmic Guide, and then you
Yeah.
just do the thing.
Tamo Fields researcher.
But
Yeah, again,
going back to some vehicles.
yeah, we could take a gander. She is green, white, and blue.
Yeah, for Tamiyo. I found her already, and I'm like, yeah, she's banned.
It's pretty damn good.
There's a
Vivian,
couple
thank you.
other...
Sorry, Vivian.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. I don't know why I can never remember Vivian.
No, she's relatively new.
But we have more Vivians than Tamios, and Tamiyo's been around for forever.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, Tamiyo's been around for a while.
That's crazy. You're right. How do we have more Vivs than Tamios?
Yeah.
That's
because
weird.
she's like a key character. She pops up in the lore a lot, and Tamiyo's more like a background character.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Wolfsbane. Like, it's easy. It's an easy fix to make Planeswalkers not problematic. But I feel like they slow roll everything when it comes to rule changes, and I'm going to try to trust the system here. But like, if you want to play with Planeswalkers, screw it. That would be fun to do. Just have like an unrestricted and everyone play with Planeswalkers they like. Any rate, let's talk about some vehicles.
I'm gonna go in like a EDH rec rank order from what people play to kind of go through them. The first one is the Indomitable. It's a mono blue one. It's a mono blue vehicle that costs 4, has trample, cruise for 3, and it's a 6/6. And it just says when a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, and you may cast this from the graveyard as long as you control 3 or more tapped pirates and/or vehicles. The Indomitable's just Toski, but in blue, so it's a color shifted Toski that gets around commander attacks depending on how you build your deck. That's kind of it. It's pretty much like Edric, but take out green. Really not that great because you do want green for dorks, but it's an option.
6/6 Trampler.
Yeah. It's a body. The next one, and this is one that Gavin brought up, is a Parhelion II.
Yeah, let me see if I even know how to spell that. Oh, hey, look at me.
Look at me.
Oh, gosh. Oh, Lord.
Sorry about that. Look at me. I opened up a dictionary. Let's go. Oh, and it apparently has an alternate art. That's pretty sick. I actually kind of like that. That's
okay, wait. Before we continue, did you guys collect Matchbox or Hot Wheels? Actually, that's going to be a poll. Because
I was a Hot Wheels kid.
I'm not going to say yet. You look like a Hot Wheels kid, though. Just kidding.
Fair.
No. Sorry, you can go over it.
But Parhelion II is just an 8-mana flying first strike vigilance that says whenever it attacks, you create 2 4/4 angel tokens with flying and vigilance that are attacking, and it accrues for 4. It's just a very big, stompy, dumb thing. If you're playing any white deck, this as a commander is not horrible because it'll just build the board. Not CEDH viable, but it's pretty cool.
There you go. Important poll going out to you right now.
I think you pulled up the Escus Chariot earlier. For those who don't know, it's just a green vehicle that when it enters, you create 2/2/2 cats, and whenever it attacks, you can create a token copy of target creature token you control. Or is it just token? No, just token you control. Nice.
I'm not gonna lie. This is one sick ass. This is one sick ass altar. This is one of the coolest altars. I love when they do shit like this, like the cereal boxes and stuff. Sorry, I had to take a second to point out how cool this is because
Parhelion,
yeah. I don't know. I was collecting Magic the Gathering probably the same time I was collecting these toy cars. I'm not gonna say which ones yet, but I wish I had my car collection still. Yeah, I did bring up Escus Chariot. It's fine.
Yeah, if you have a way of making a token copy of something relevant, it's really good. If Escus Chariot was in red, it would be amazing. Let's make that Twin Flame. How the crap do you pronounce this? Golden Argosy. This is a colorless one, but it's a colorless one with a pretty cool effect. It has a crew of 1, and it says when it attacks, exile each creature that crewed it, then return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. This is cool for 2 reasons. 1, it's a flicker commander and colorless. Let's go. You can do some weird jank with this. 2, This is a board wipe protection commander because you can just use this to exile your whole board and then crack your Nev's disc to wipe out everything, and then all your creatures will return later completely fine. So you're the only one left with a board.
That's kind of
So
cool. Yeah.
this is going to be a fun casual thing for people to build. The next I can go over kind of two in one go because they're basically the same thing, just different flavors. First is the Belligerent, which is another Assassin's Creed one. It's an Is It vehicle that says when it attacks, create a treasure token, and until the end of the turn, you may play cards from the top of your library. It's just another Senses Divining top deck. In addition to the Lunar Whale, which is the exact same thing, except it's just you can look at the top at any time. And if this is attacked this turn, you may play from the top.
What's the other one?
The Lunar Whale is the other one. It's a Final Fantasy one.
Right. What's the other? Didn't we get the car as well from Final Fantasy
Yeah, that was a one I
14?
was going to get into. We can go over that really quick. It
you're
is
gonna.
the Regalia. The
Yeah.
Regalia.
Well, wait. Sorry, Lunar Whale. Why do we care
Yeah,
about
Lunar
this?
Whale's just you can look at the top of your library. If this attacks, you can play the top of your library this turn.
I guess we prefer the Belligerent.
Yeah, the Belligerence is it. It's just usually better because more colors.
Yeah, it's also a 5/5, but I mean, it doesn't fly. Not that that.
But you don't need to
True.
connect. You just need to swing.
I like the crew one aspect of the Lunar Whale, though. I'll say that's a little bit easier to accomplish. Like any amount of board can crew the Lunar Whale.
Yeah. But as you brought up, the Regalia.
Hell yeah.
It's a hasty vehicle that crews for one. When it attacks, reveal the top until you reveal land, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Colorless ramp, let's go.
How easy is this to do? It's hasty.
It's very easy. You play like random mirrors that will be dorks to ramp into it, and if you over ramp, then that dork is going to be the thing to crew it.
Boom Mobile is infinite mana outlet in the CZ. What? I'll look that up. Boots. Hey, Martin. Boats. Excuse me. I was so close, Gibbous. I thought you were like, we should put boots on the regalia. I'm like, what are you talking about? Boom Mobile? Boom Mobile? Oh, shit. It's a thing. But it's not a thing. It's not a legendary thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's just a car. Oh, it's one of the random things from the racing set. Yeah.
Yeah, Ether Drift did have some pretty sick.
Unfortunately,
Cars,
a lot
though.
of them were non-legendary.
Yeah, there was like a handful. There's the black one. I'm trying to remember the names of these vehicles. I can't remember. There's some good cards from the set, though. This is a sweet set. I really love the theme of the set. I didn't like the starting line thing. What the one mechanic that was too slow to grow kind of pissed me off.
You're good, Wolfsbane. You didn't know the Boommobile wasn't legendary? Everybody plays the Boommobile all the time.
Yeah, it's also
You're good.
capitalized like a proper noun, so I don't blame you. I'd have thought.
I will say the last vehicle of note, which is one that I really like because it's a colorless KCI commander. It's the Weatherlight completed. It has no crew cost, but whenever a creature dies, you put a Phyrexian counter on it. Then, if it has 4 more counters on it, it becomes a Phyrexian creature in addition to its other types. And if it has 7 or more, and when a creature dies, you scry 1. And if you have 7 or more instead, you draw 1. This is just going to be a card that you use to fix the top of your deck a little bit until you get it to 7, and then you are going to be sacking everything and then drawing a ton of cards, and you keep going and keep digging. I think it's cool. 2 mana is very cheap, and yeah.
Yeah, you can mana
Just
crypt
cool.
this out pretty quick. Or not.
Yeah, I do say I wish the Weatherlight was a vehicle. Not Weatherlight, the Weatherlight.
Which what? Wait. There's the Weatherlight?
Yeah, so sorry, Skyship Weatherlight. My bad.
Yeah.
I wish Skyship Weatherlight was a vehicle, but that was before vehicles were a thing. I own 1 copy of Skyship Weatherlight and played it in 1 CDH deck. and that was the
Ooh.
Primal Surge Society deck way back in the Flash Hulk meta.
Ooh. Is it this promo Kev Walker one?
No, it was
Because
just the vanilla one.
hot damn. 3 legendary cards in Planeshift had an alternate art foil version in addition to their standard art foil. Excuse me, I didn't know that. That is really cool. I've never cracked open Planeshift. That would be a fun set to rip into. Not that there's many good cards that I would hope to pull, but still, ships,
I
ships, vehicles, and spacecraft.
Yep,
Get
yep.
them while
And
they're
I
hot.
think Spacecraft is going to be a cool mechanic because it feels like a kind of more balanced version of vehicles. You're not constantly paying into it; you're just paying into it like one go. So I do like that. I think that's going to be a bit more fun for Commander. And yeah, vehicles are cool. If Planeswalkers get allowed in, I'm looking forward to breaking Planeswalkers.
Yeah, I never got my hands on any pre-release kits for Final Fantasy, but I would honestly love to still. This is a set I want to play limited. Did we talk about the lunar whale? Yeah, briefly. Wolf, if you got any thoughts on the whale, you can send them our way. We're always interested to talk about whales. Am I right? Am I lying? Okay, so announcing Commander play events featuring Sealed and Two-Headed Giant. So obviously these are formats that have pre-existed. Like people make their own Commander cubes. Obviously, you could just buy enough packs and play Sealed. I don't think you need a whole box for 60 cards non-singleton, but whatever. So there's a Commander box league that's inbound at potentially your local game store. It's maybe a little divisive, this concept, but there are additional prizes that could be handed out at the discretion of your LGS. But the idea behind it is you'll make a 60 card commander deck out of a play booster box. So it's encouraging people to shop big. If you can get a whole play booster for Final Fantasy at near MSRP, do it. But as it stands, this is, I think, coming out with Edge of Eternity. This is like a new format for that, official format for that.
Yeah, it's less that hey, here's a new thing for people to do, and more like hey, we're sanctioning a thing that people have kind of already been doing because Commander box drafts have kind of been a thing since the one Dominaria set where we had like 100 and something new commanders. Um, and they kind of stopped doing it, but it looks like they're going to try to bring it back. And Two-Headed Giant Commander Knight has been a thing because Two-Headed Giant Commander has been a thing, but now they're making it into a sanctioned thing.
I enjoy a sanctioned thing. I enjoy a sanctioned two-headed giant. I really like playing two-headed, honestly. It's way more fun for me. Drop a ton of cash, do it now. A Watsy
Give us
probably.
money, Wizards of the Coast, probably.
Yeah, well, genuinely, yeah, kind of. So Edge of Eternity, if you guys don't know it, it comes out late July. So we should be shifting to vehicles and spacecrafts being in CZ very soon, as well as these new game formats being.
That is one thing that I think we didn't say, but should say. Vehicles are not legal commanders yet.
Yeah.
They're going to be legal commanders at the launch of Edge of Eternity. So don't bring a Jackdaw deck into your like next event. I don't know if like we just had MagicCon Vegas. I don't know when the next MagicCon is. Don't bring your Jackdaw CDH deck into that yet.
Make it for funsies, though, now, if you want to
Yeah,
start practicing it.
I am 100% certain that if you brought that into your play group, they'd be like, I mean, yeah, it's going to happen in like a month.
So, thoughts on Sealed with a card pool this big, Will?
Uh, I mean, like the sealed aspect is fine. Like this has been a thing that existed for Commander, where you just draft a whole box and then I can't. It's changed ever so slightly because it came out with the Dominaria set that brought Tatiova. But then they modified it so that you could have any creature that you drafted be your commander, not just legendaries. And then they made it so that you could do it in any set. So they're just trying to monetize it a little bit better. And I'm like, okay, I don't like that, but whatever. It's you're sanctioning things to make a bit more of a profit out of it. Fine,
Yeah.
fine.
New ways to play and new ways to earn special promo cards. That's what I care about. Now,
Yeah,
my thing
if
is,
they're making more events, then great, more events.
right. And again, sweet promos.
Yes.
Their words, not mine. But yeah, someone brought this up in the Discord, and it was an interesting concern because I honestly feel this way about every sealed I play, especially when I go against a deck that looks really fine tuned. It's like, hot damn, you pulled two of those. What's the probability of that? Is the potential for someone using cards outside of their box or outside of their sealed pool, which is like a thing in and of itself already. Like, whether it happens or not, whether it's really just on the store to be monitoring this a little bit better. But it was interesting dilemma someone brought up with a card pool this big. It's not like they're tracking what you get out of your box. I think there's an honor system with all of this though. And more important to note, like when you do a lot of these events, there's always like that. There's
Your
always
mic
like,
is kind of cutting in and out a little bit.
oh,
It may have just been a distance thing more than like a
could be a
difficulty
distance
thing.
thing. Could just be a distance thing. But yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to honor system, but also like you're probably playing against like an 8 to 12-year-old or something. There's always a kid or two there, and you're going to deny them a fun experience. Think about being mature before you're an ass. God. And also, some of my best wins at any sealed event have been when I had the shittiest card pool. I love making bad shit work. So, not a concern for me. I don't know how you guys feel about like larger sealed pools like this. If there's either there's some sort of ethical dilemma involved. I think if you go to a game store where cheating is suspected or does happen, and I've been to plenty of LGSs where it does, you either stop going there or you got to talk to the people that manage the spot, and also make sure that person's banned. Because like for the games I play, there's been like at least with One Piece, there's been like two people I know that have been banned from stores. They're like not allowed to participate in events of any scale, and it's kind of nice. Prefer not to play with cheaters. If I'm being honest, I'm a lot more open to two-headed giant TDH tournament EDH than regular TDH, in part because it resolves a lot of the logistics issues. Yeah,
Yeah,
larger.
because
Yeah,
it we're gonna go over this for the whole thing with the 11-hour game and TDH and all that. But
good
yeah,
segue.
a major issue with TDH is the point system that is currently used, just because it allows for some level of coercion, collusion, exploitation, yada yada yada, where somebody can throw a game to another player because they're already going to be in finals, but if they or they're going to be in finals as long as one of the other two people don't win, they can throw the game to the other person and then they're in finals. There's some BS that can go on with that. If you do two-headed giant, it's basically a 1v1. It's just two people piloting in the 1v1. So that does fix a good amount of the stuff, and it fixes the coercion and collusion. So yeah, I can agree with that. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could segue into that. Um, yeah, it's interesting. We don't when it comes to. I guess it really depends on your LGS. But for the sealed I play, there's no pool registration. Maybe they're more. I don't know. Even the last like pre-release I went to for MTG. Are you? What do you mean by REL? I'm sorry. I don't know what this acronym means. At competitive REL matches. I'll take your word for it. That's a lot to register, a whole ass play booster. But even then, like, if you know what goes in what slot, you can still cheese it. Am I crazy?
Well, it's like if you go, here's all the cards that were pulled from packs, then it's like there was only one Ronus in there. How do you have two? Then you know that somebody slipped in another Ronus.
Okay. Thank you. Competitive rules enforcement level. Yeah. So local game store, maybe not so much. Okay. That's so interesting. I guess these things just aren't enforced. at least where I'm at. But all right, duly noted. Last one I played was Dustmorn. No one checked. So on that note, though, we could talk about
The
this
state
event.
of EDH, TEDH, and the 11-hour game.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've covered all the updates to the format. There's a lot of changes inbound. They all seem good. I don't know how I feel about the bracket system yet. They're still shaking it out. I, to preface this, want to say that I've always found Commander to be a casual game. Despite the level of play you might find yourself in, whether you're playing in a tournament setting or playing decks that are inherently competitive, it's basically what everyone else has been harping for a long time. Like, it's more of a social format than anything, particularly because you can't control what three other people are doing. But this is an interesting situation that came up. We're playing a video that Kenobi ran a good 4 weeks ago. Decent amount of views. So it doesn't seem like, to me at least, with 62K views, that many people are concerned about this as a whole. At least,
It's weird because it's not that a lot of people have watched this video, but this is a thing that a lot of people brought up.
well, this
Because
is
I've
the
heard
one
of
that I've this is the video I've seen like pointed at the most as like not necessarily like the North Star for this problem, but like, or at
it's
least,
referenced.
yeah, this is like the referential video. But I don't think a majority of players that play Commander play in tournament settings, so I think it's a smaller issue than we're led to believe. Sorry, not to cut you off.
Well, I was just adding in that it's the referenced thing, and we're using it because it's a good reference. Also, we should probably add the links to the articles and this video in the description.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll do that
la-
afterwards. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't really go for rage baiting, or, like you're saying, people just salting off. Yeah, I get that. I don't really have the capacity for that. Like, I had a really overstimulating day, so I don't need to, like, I live in New York City. I don't really need to listen to people like get salty or lose their mind over games. Like, it doesn't benefit me. But yeah, we'll leave links to all the articles in the description momentarily.
yeah, for Wolfsbane, the reason why we're using the term TEDH versus CDH is CDH is more like the actual format, but TDH is the format in addition to the system that the tournament is being run in, which matters a lot when you actually get into it. To give the quick synopsis of the 11-hour game, for those who don't know, there was a tournament that happened about 2 or 3 months ago, I think, and in this tournament it ran pretty smoothly. In the end, in the finals, they had four players facing off against each other. One of them being a relatively famous artist for alter arts in the CDH space, who I don't really know that well, and I don't
Do you
know as a
remember their
person, and I'm not going to comment on them as a person. And in
Do you
this
remember their
game,
name? Sorry, because
I think
maybe Justin has one of their art cards.
it's mentioned in this article. Sabretooth. Sabretooth was the guy. So Golden Sabretooth. Um, so supposedly Golden Sabretooth was being just extremely harsh, overly judgmental on every play and making things take longer than they needed to. And in the end, they had to set a hard timer on the game because Sabretooth had to go to a separate obligation, uh, like a state or two away. So he had to hop on a flight. They had to put a hard timer on the game. 11 hours was the hard timer. So the 11-hour game ended in a draw. Um, Supposedly there was footage of this game. There was a VOD, but then something happened where they couldn't release the VOD because it didn't actually save. So we don't have a VOD of it. And as far as we know, there is no VOD of it, but somebody who watched it may have
Recorded.
gotten a copy of the video. There
Yeah.
may be like another streaming service that archived it or something, but for right now, we don't have the video. So, because of that, I'm not going to say Sabretooth did everything that people said that he did. I'm not going to say that Sabretooth's fault. There was a video, there were people watching the live stream, people can comment on it. I did not watch it. I'm not going to comment on it. But even just bringing this up as a concept leads into a couple interesting things. So one is slow play. Me and my friends had a discussion on this on another Discord, which is kind of the reason why I wanted to bring up the 11-hour game, because it brings into play of we have the bracket system so that we have a universal way to discuss how we what power we're playing out, what people are expecting from the games. But weirdly enough, we don't have that same level of consistency for tournament rules because at SCG Con Baltimore that I think we went to, they they were more relaxed on the slow play setting, and I think that's because SCG Con specifically did not want to kick people from the tournament for slow play, and there was a guy who made it to I think top 16 in the more expensive event who got a slow play called on him at least once every single match, and he didn't get punished. Um, I think that we need to have more consistent rules to let judges both act and punish slow play, and also a better understanding what slow play is so that players can call it out. Because during SCG Con, I'm pretty sure the judges wanted to go, okay, dude, you've gotten like you've got 8 slow play calls against you in this tournament so far. Pick it up, or we will end your turn for you. But they
Yeah.
couldn't do that. I think that there needs to be clear rules from Wizards of the Coast saying here's the expectation for at least CDH tournaments, because it's pretty much the only format that doesn't have actual tournament regulations. Because if you look at Modern, Vintage, or Legacy, it's pretty clear cut. People know
Yeah.
what they're expecting. The rules are pretty much always universal with some slight shifts depending on the venue and the event.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like what Gibbous was saying here. There's six big TOs for TDH and a couple dozen more smaller TOs, and there's not a standard rule set for everyone used. And yeah, that's accurate. It's kind of crazy to think too. I hope that's one of the things they're working on. I assume it is. I don't know how long they'll be sort of deliberating on this, but it's something that needs to come into effect. I don't think that Commander is a laughable format for an 11-hour game. I think
Yeah,
that if I was at that table, I didn't see the game, but anytime someone's toxic, like I call them out immediately. Even if it were going to get me, I don't know, even if it got me in trouble with a judge, I would give equal toxicity to that person just to shut them up.
equal rights, equal lefts.
Yeah, that stuff really bothers me, especially with I don't know, like if someone was getting bullied at a table, I'm usually not okay with that. But I'm into having a good time, even in a tournament setting. And I've played in a lot of competitive settings recently, just with One Piece. I play that more often because it's easier for me to attend these things, especially with a lot of them being online. But you get some salty people, and it's like it doesn't lend to a good playing environment. But when I play at TDH, it can be frustrating to see people get bullied into choices and or make bad choices because of bad behavior. But I'm usually good about correcting that shit on the spot. And
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Again, like what Will was saying, I don't know this person. I didn't see the stream necessarily. I only got highlights, and I don't want to operate off hearsay. But if you see stuff like this in a tournament setting, be vigilant because no one needs to have this behavior. It's so weird. Like the egos get involved. People obviously don't want to lose. I can't imagine sitting in a tournament for 11 hours and it coming to a draw and then someone being just salty.
insufferable.
Yeah, insufferable for 11 hours straight. I would lose my mind.
Yeah, if what was said about Sabretooth is true, yeah, bad attitude. I agree with you on everything. I I don't know if that's true because it could have also just been Pleasant Kenobi put it in a way on his video where he said it could have just been somebody who's basically hating for clicks, somebody who's just like, "Hey, I'm going to shit on this famous person to get interaction and views and clicks based off of what I posted, either by people being like, yeah, I hate that person as well, or hey, I'm defending this person because they make good art." I don't know why the person who wrote that article that Pleasant Kenobi discussed wrote that. He went over, they might have just been trying to get hate fuel. But if Sabretooth was acting poorly in the game, yeah, that's not good. if that wasn't true and Sabretooth was just trying to talk things out way too much and made the game take long because of that. I disagree with that, but for a different reason, only because slow play.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against Sabretooth. Specifically, it's just slow play.
Yeah. Yeah, shut up and play the game. Oh, genuinely, yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've taken some time in interactions and on turns, but I don't think to the point where it's like soaked up all the time in the game. I think they just need to come down with a more appropriate time limit for these games. Obviously, come out with a proper rule set that will determine how people will play in tournament EDH, and then I think at that point it'll feel or become less laughable. Because if you're in like a match and you only have 40 minutes to play the game, and the judges have the capacity to like get you to play through a turn, unlike what Will was suggesting with SCG when we played and slow plays were occurring. I think it would be a different. The setting would have been different. I think the game probably would have gone differently, but that's just not the case right now. That's maybe where Commander is at right now.
Yeah, I'd say TEDH is somewhat laughable, but CDH isn't. CDH is like an actual format, people playing together.
Yeah,
It's enjoyable. Like people like just playing EDH to its extreme and playing to win. But the tournament system right now is so muddled and so inconsistent that it leads to situations where it leads to at least one miserable game happening on each event because people can't agree on how the game should be played. Because slow play is a good example, and kind of going into another segment, collusion. That was another thing that some of my friends brought up as legitimate arguments that I'm like, yeah, no, that's a problem with TDH. Collusion is kind of rampant in the current tournament format because of the point system. Basically, if somebody is playing in a pod and they have four players in the pod, usually in the point system, they'll try to keep all people who are around the same rank together so that they can gain wins. And you brought up something, Patrick, that is because of how they set up the point system. If you win your first game and then either win or tie in the second game, you pretty much guarantee making it to the top 16 because of how they weight the system. Because you're going to be playing with other people who have won the game, and if you're playing with other people who have won, they weight your points higher. So if you play in that game and you tie or you win, you make the top 16 in a tournament every time. But another issue with that is the fact that with the point system, they'll have people play together who, if the person who is in first place is playing with the person who's in like around fourth place, they can usually work to give the person in fourth the win because then it guarantees the person in first spot in top 16 no matter what. Versus if second or third place won, then first place could potentially be knocked out of the top 16. So it's kind of to that degree where you can
yeah.
collude with somebody to guarantee that you're going to be in a higher position in the tournament. That's been something that people have complained about. That's been something that happens a lot. That's more so based on the fact that the point system needs to be changed, or we need to have strict punishment against people doing things like that. If it can be proven, then yeah, it should probably be stopped. If you're using outside forces to gain an advantage in the game, then yeah, no, it's kind of not cool.
Isn't that the nature of the game? Well,
Not outside forces. That's like bringing a bat to a poker game and just knocking everyone out and taking their chips and saying you won.
but if your bat's just the person in fourth place, I mean,
Well,
well, there's that social construct, right? Like collusion's a little different than negotiating how turns should play out. It's interesting because in TDH settings, there are people that, dude, I don't know. I was kind of pissed off at the last one we attended, which I and Will both attended the same one. And it was kind of frustrating to see people suggest the wrong things and then other people just outright listen. And me trying to help course correct some of these things because threat assessment was just horribly out of lack at one of the tables I was at. And it's like, guys, like, what is going on? And I remember there was like a moment where there was a spell on the stack, and I'm like, wait, you didn't. This person cast a spell. I forget the exact predicament, but they never chose targets for their spell, and there was an opportunity for them to course correct and do the right thing, which would have put the person who ultimately won at a disadvantage because they were far and away the lead in the game. They wound up taking something off of my board, which is fine. And I think me being the voice of reason in this was bad because I looked like I stood to gain something from the situation. But in situations like that, I'm so candid. Like I had two cards in my hand. I'll tell you. I'll let you know it's in my hand. I'll let you know if you break this thing, it's bad for me. If you break this thing, it's good for me. It doesn't matter either way. But like if someone clearly has a distinct advantage, I try to point those things out. That's that kind of social contract, that kind of discussion that can happen at a table. I think is fine, whether people listen or not. It's neither here nor there. But I do think collusion is a different story with what Will's suggesting. Like of forcing someone else's win to just make your other two opponents lose. I think it lends to feel bads mostly, but there's nothing against it.
Yeah, it's Gibbous brought up a rule just saying that players may not reach an agreement in conjunction with other matches, but players can make or use information regarding matches or game scores of other tables. However, players are not allowed to leave their seat during their match or go to great lengths to obtain the information. So that is more so about deck information in addition to uh, that's more so about deck information in addition to score, but score is usually accessible through an app and is very easily accessible to everybody. My issue is when you use an outside force like score to impact in-game decisions. Like I would rather the guy who has no chance of entering the tournament or no chance of entering top 16 still play to his best even if it would knock me out of top 16. I
Yeah.
would much rather have that happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't know. It's like if you're behind and you just because normally I feel like in tournament settings you lose a certain amount of matches. You know where your standings are. If your pair downs have left, like it's the way it's weighted with the other game I play competitively. It's like you know when you can drop out. There's no there's no prize for putting in a lot of effort in Commander, so it's like I don't know.
The enjoyment of the game.
Outside of the enjoyment of the game, but then like why play TDH? Like what is your enjoyment contingent on you winning this thing and potentially making a little bit of money? Like I don't know. That
Yeah,
doesn't.
just playing your deck to the best that it can, just
Yeah,
getting it
yeah.
showing in the event.
I don't think that that's the best way to play CDH though. Like if you just want to play a competitive game, I would
Pick
rather.
up with your friends. That's
Yeah,
usually the best way to do CDH.
I would just rather get together with my friends and have a drink.
I I will
But
say part of the appeal of TDH is getting together with the wider community of
yeah,
CDH players. That's a very good pull for TDH because I'm pretty sure I'm still known as the Sasaya guy from the very first ever Command Fest.
hmm,
Like I'm known as the guy that played an 83 land CDH deck. So
got to continue
I'm
the
well known for
tradition.
that.
Yeah, I don't.
You remembered me for that. That's how we met. I'm this is initially I was the Sasaya guy to you.
Yeah, it's a good deck. I understand that too. Like I think that getting to see like test your salt against randos is kind of fun. But then again, I'm always upset with randos. I'm always upset. There's some shit that happens. It's just like I don't understand why these plays are being made. I usually don't. I usually don't say anything either. I just witness. And it's like okay, but like if McKinnon's clearly gonna win the game, I gotta say something, right? Like what
Yeah.
is going on? Like they're like one basalt monolith away from winning. We're cool with this. They proceed to win. It's like oh, fuck me. Shit like that happens consistently though when I play in tournament settings. I don't know what it is either. I also play obscure decks, so I think like threat assessment is out of lack when it comes to my list because people are confused with what I'm trying to do. And any amount of like candor just doesn't help. It's like I can be honest with you and tell you exactly what I'm going to do, and you're still going to be worried, which I guess is nice. because it means you think I'm doing something great, but it's not. It's never the case. Also, Blade of Cells with Gilgamesh is disgusting.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's fun. That is very fun.
yeah. No other feelings on this. Let's set some like proper rules that everyone follows. I think WotC
Yeah,
has the capacity.
it's setting proper rules so that people know what they're all getting into, what they're expecting, what they should be able to call a judge on. Giving judges the authority to actually act on misbehavior, because Lord, if somebody got 8 slow play calls against them in a single event, judges need to just stop or just need to start smacking them with the slow the slow play bat. Like
Yeah.
that is nuts. But also the point system. The point system needs to be adjusted. Somebody brought up like draws are the major issue with the point system right now. I think that was Christopher. I think if you just fix the draw point situation, they would avoid 99% of these issues. Yeah, like if you adjusted the draw system, that would probably help fix it. The question is, how would you adjust it?
Yeah, make
But
people play. Make people actually play games. What?
yeah.
Are you serious?
And one other thing is, I think that they need to. The timer is kind of an issue for CDH or TDH, just because an entire archetype is eliminated because of how TDH functions, because of stacks. Stacks is a pretty functional archetype in the CDH meta, but it cannot work in TEDH because of the timer. You're more likely to lose, which is part of the reason why Winota has such a poor showing on a lot of different formats, because if you just let Winota get somewhat of a board, then kill Winota enough times, you're hitting time.
Yeah.
Every single time. Like 2 kill spells on Winota makes the game hit time. And that's an issue because if you're making it so that stacks isn't a viable option, then you're just letting combo decks kind of take over the format, which is why Rog Sai was the top TDH deck for the longest time, and it's slowly fallen off as people have gotten better control options in.
Hmm. All right. Next major event, Squall. Even if not for slow play, I heard he was demeaning the person in the winning position, and that by itself should have been gotten a judge call. Yeah, it's odd. I mean, the thing is broadcasted, right? I mean, it was an 11-hour stream on top of the fact, so
Yeah,
it's
if he had bad behavior, yeah, I'd agree. Punish bad behavior. I just did not witness it. I did not see it, so I'm not gonna sling mud where I don't know if it should be slung.
yeah, that's fair.
If I ever find out the VOD is an actual thing that people can get their hands on, I'm watching the full 11 hours, and then I will sling as much mud as I need to at that point.
Called it pot licking? What?
No politicking.
Oh, dude,
Maybe what?
the text on my screen is so small. I'm like, what the fuck is pot licking? All right, I collected Matchbox. That was like my go-to. I can't tell you why. I think it was maybe a little bit cheaper than Hot Wheels at the time, wherever I went. I also just like the variety a little bit better. Hot Wheels can be a little outlandish at times, where I feel like
Yeah.
Matchbox had more just straight up cars.
Everything has an afterburner in Hot Wheels. Truck with an afterburner. Let's
Yeah.
go.
There are some sick looking Hot Wheels though. I think my nephews play with Hot Wheels. Is Matchbox still around? I had a whole container with all my cars. I don't know where that thing is. It's not in this house. I wish it were.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was an element of celebrity status at play if there was an actual misconduct. It's awkward to be in the position in person. Huh? I don't really
yeah,
give a shit. I again, like, it doesn't matter who's sitting across from me. The thing is, and it's odd when you're talking about celebrity in these situations. I've been in a lot of tournament settings, whether it was an online or like in person, and I hate to say it, I don't have that kind of draw. But sometimes people would notice me, sometimes they wouldn't.
and
And
whenever they did notice you, they hard targeted the crap out of you.
no, they're usually a little bit more forgiving. And I noticed it too because like you're almost rooting for that person. I remember I watched someone like they pretty much gave the game away to this guy who was known for a particular deck, and I was like, that's so interesting that you're just allowing this shit to happen. It's like at any rate, it's like there's the opposite of that as well. I think that you need to be able to call people on their shit. It doesn't matter if they're known for whatever. It's like what am I trying to say?
Don't be a star fucker.
Don't be a pot licker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be a
Can we use that as like the
yeah.
term?
Yeah,
Don't be a pot licker.
don't lick the pot just because everyone else is licking it, okay? Look, this guy does just because he's a celebrity doesn't mean his shit doesn't stink. You need to call people out on this. It's an equal game. And it's a casual game. I'm sorry. The way people play sometimes, it gets pretty casual. I can't remember the last time I played a game where it's like when
What?
I play a lot of tennis these days, and like I I'm not that great at it. I do a lot of double faults on serves, and it's like that's okay. I think you need to be aware of your own faults. But damn, are there like a lot of double faults in fucking Commander? And it's
I
like no amount of practice is helping that.
I feel like pot licker is a term to say that you're supporting somebody even though they're being a hypocrite, like the pot calling the kettle black. Don't be a
Yeah,
pot licker.
yeah. Politicking. Called it politicking. Insulting people isn't politicking. I don't know. It's maybe divisive. I know people have different takes on what politicking actually means. I feel like in a competitive game, if there's money on the table, I'll actually. I feel like I've definitely adjusted and have become better in time. But we used to play cube for money, and it was like a combo cube, and I'm pretty acutely aware of like all the combos in the cube because like I'm drafting it. I want to play it well. But I know how I can be. I could definitely be haughty and I'll use whatever to my advantage to win, but I'm not going to resort to insulting people. Like that's just not that's not politicking. Like trying to get someone flustered uh, by being a bully or abusive with language or tone, that doesn't work for me. Um, but no, I'll certainly do what it takes to win. Is the element of celebrity? Yeah, I like Hot Wheels because of the old movies and shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mike's cut out. Mike cut out for that element of celebrity before the mic cut out.
Oh, that's okay. It might just be I don't know. This isn't relatively new mic.
Oh, it's out again. Maybe it's like a loose cable or something.
It might just be the noise canceling with that AC in the background, but that's okay.
That's probably it. That makes sense.
It's Meld. It's Meld Studio. I'm blaming Meld because it's not this mic. That sounds like unsporting conduct that gets you the boot.
Yeah, like agreed. I've dealt with that like twice in events, and one was a game that I won. It was just a game at a tournament where somebody was harping on me for blowing up their opposition agent when somebody else was going to be tutoring a lot, but I had a decent hand. And I
Right.
ended up winning the game because I blew up the opposition agent and it stopped their combo. Because
Huh.
they needed a creature to sack to do the thing. Um,
Whoopsie. Yeah, you can always tell when someone gets really heated. It's personal. Like
yeah,
there is an actual issue at hand that had nothing to do with your play. And the thing is like unless there is what is it revelation, unless there's a card on the field that says you can see my hand, you don't know what's on my fucking hand.
yeah.
Why, how are you determining what's best for me right now?
Also, and
Just chill.
the oth- the other time that I dealt with that, and this is one that I hold on to because I'm like, I was salty that I got knocked out of this tournament, but it helped me understand what I should be doing in tournaments better. And it was this was back on like one of the first Monarch tournaments. I was playing Tide Pod, the Dargo Thrasios Tide Pod deck, and I played Dockside, used the mana from Dockside to play Cloudstone Curio with, and then I cast Dargo, and then in response to me casting Dargo, they Chain of Vapored my Cloudstone Curio, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna sack land, bounce Dockside, and they're like, okay, I've not paid mana into Chain of Vapor yet. I'm not gonna do that now that I realize that's a punt play, and I'm like, you floated a mana, fucking whatever.
Mhm.
But they were able to stop me from winning by uh, working together to bounce all of their artifacts and enchantments except for like two. And one guy basically threatened to kingmake the entire game and was like, I'm going to kingmake if you bounce any of my 2 mana rocks. And then if you bounce my Ristic Study or my Felwar Stone. And then in the end, he ended up winning the game. I'm like, one, I should have called the judge to not let the rewind go. 2, I should have called out the king making threat because that's not cool. But after that, I'm like, okay, I should not have played into the rewind. I should not have been a nice guy. I should have just been completely brutal. And then from then on out, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be ruthless in a tournament.
That's fair.
I'm not gonna lie to your face, but I'm not gonna be like open and honest about
Is
everything.
threatening to king make? It's so annoying when people say that. It's
Threatening the king make was specifically banned in that tournament, but I forgot until after the match.
Is it politicking to you?
That is not considered politicking.
Okay.
Only because so basically what he did was king making only because it he basically said, I'm going to guarantee I lose unless you do this one thing that's going to increase the chances of me winning slightly. It was lowering his chances of winning to disrupt the game, which ended up helping him win because it played out in a very specific way. But it's king making only if it does not distinctly give you an advantage. And basically the chances of him winning if his stuff didn't get bounced did increase the chances of him winning, but not to the significant degree of him losing compared to him losing the game. If it was like, don't do this thing that's going to make me lose the game, or I will make you lose the game as well, that's technically not king making because of the weight between the how do I put this in a way that's not stupid? Basically the weight from the advantage you gain has to be significant or has to be roughly equal to the weight from what you're risking. But saying, hey, do this thing that's going to give me like a 5% chance, higher chance to win, or else I'm going to give up the game is way higher weighted on one side than the other. And that's king making. Like, that's threatening, that's extortion, that's king making. But for like the dumb thing with Xenos, technically not king making because you only threaten with Xenos if you are going to lose the game. If you're like, if you cast that Ristic study, I'm going to threaten to scoop and then give the Xenos player the win, that's fucking king making. But if it's just, hey, if you cast him on a consultation with that Thoracle trigger on the stack, I'm going to concede. That's not king making if that is your out to prevent you from losing the Thoracle. It's fucked. But doing something where it's like, I'm going to threaten the game if you do something that's going to upset me, that is king making. That's probably the best way I can phrase it.
That's fair. But Will's only deck at TDH tournaments is going to be TDH, a nice redundancy, is only going to be Xenos Shinryu.
For a little bit, yeah, because I'm actually going to be building Xenos just for the sake of bringing up the whole collusion point system thing, because you can easily cheese tournaments with the point system just by going, hey, guy who needs these guys to not win. If you concede, you make top 16.
Good play. Good play on your part. Quick question. Should I replace Drawn the Liberator of Malakir for Ardbert, Warrior of Darkness in my Terra deck? We can take a look at that before we close this one out. If you guys have any questions, you're welcome to send them our way. But I remember pulling this ages ago.
Yeah, Drana's the first strike lifelinker, or first strike flying. Yeah, first strike flying. Yeah,
for
that gives
Ardbert?
counters.
Yeah.
And
Ardbert seems better.
Yeah, whenever it deals combat damage, put a +1 on each creature you control. In which deck?
In Terra.
In Terra?
Well, I guess it depends on your quantity of...
It depends on your legendary count, because Ardbert will only ever buff your legendaries, whereas Drana will buff everything.
Yeah, the contingency on Drana is kind of awkward, though. I feel like casting white and black spells is a little bit easier than getting an attack off with this. You're going to hit, though.
Well, it's a question of, is casting white or black spells to only buff your legendaries, and let's say you only have 2 legendaries on board, is getting 2 counters when you cast a certain thing going to get you more counters per turn than putting a +1/+1 counter on everything?
Mm.
It depends. I'd say it really depends
Keep
on your deck.
keep Drana for now. Just dark with that out. I like Drana enough. Yeah. I would need to see the whole list though for Ardbert. For me, stuff like this is
Yeah,
why I don't think I could do high level TDH because it feels like they're giving up some of rule
some
zero.
of the rule zero of CDH. Um, I mean, I will say 90% of the time when you go to a TEDH event, it's going to be a fun event. You're not going to bump into anything. It's just going to be you playing games. It's fine, fun, and dandy. You're not going to run into like any of the BS that we brought up. The issue is that that BS will happen at least once during every event, but the chances of you being in that pod are low. But it should not be happening on every event. So things need to be changed. And people are saying that TDH is a joke because of the 11-hour game, but that's kind of not fair because Vintage and Legacy have 6-hour tournaments every now and then, even though they're two-person games, meaning that it should take significantly less time than CDH. So that's
Yeah.
Vintage and Legacy's version of an 11-hour game. But people usually only bring that up as like, hey, crazy thing that happened, not hey, Vintage and Legacy are jokes.
I think there's just
For
a disdain for competitive Commander. I
yeah,
mean, I feel like I jumped in at an interesting time, but when we made this channel, like the 99 years ago, competitive EDH, like there had been a scene for a little while, and we all kind of knew what was what, like what legendaries you should be playing, what combos worked. Obviously, it evolved over time, but for the longest time, I still remember getting grief over just playing competitive or making the channel about that. And even from like fellow players in the community, personalities, influencers in the space that would give me grief over my decks not being competitive enough, or people, just general audience members, disliking the fact that we're covering competitive. I got it on both ends, and it was so interesting to listen to the discourse, particularly when the goal was just to entertain people, and has been and still is. So I do think that there is sort of at the heart of it just a general disdain for trying to make this format, which most people see as casual, competitive. But even when you watch casually minded
your
players,
mic's cutting out a bit again.
it's AC. I guess I don't need to be cool. But yeah,
It's not 90 degrees outside. What are you talking about? Who
yeah,
needs
right?
AC?
Yeah, I'm not sweating right now. This is like the first time in this whole week I'm not just covered in sweat. But yeah, what I was driving at is there's just a general disdain, I think, for CDH. And I think that's sort of at the heart of a lot of this, like why people would be calling the TDH community a joke for having an 11-hour game. To be honest with you, Will, I think that's why. At least based off of the grief I've been given, I would say that.
Yeah, there's always been some level of vitriol against CDH in general, and that's more so because it's gotten a bad rep because people play EDH as just a fun format until that one guy comes in with the CDH deck pub stomps, and then you're like, that's what a CDH player is. It's that asshole.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like it's weird. Like you're like the boogeyman. It's interesting because I've definitely gone to events where people want to play games with me, and it's like, oh, I've got a high powered list, or I'm pretty sure this is CDH, and it's like, okay, well, we'll play, but if you're like uncomfortable or you're not enjoying yourself, it's okay to just like check out. But I've had people play with me and just get like stomped, and I'm not trying to stomp them. It's just like, oh, okay, well, they don't really have the efficient counters, or they don't have the efficient interaction, and like I'm sort of getting away with shit that like in a normal setting, if everyone was on their game, I wouldn't be getting away with. And they,
Like that stream with the Tiny Bones deck that you played with for charity, where I think you told everybody, "Hey, I'm bringing CDH deck, bring a higher powered deck," and you ended up just kind of pub
yeah.
stomping in that
Well,
game.
also, I mean, I needed to. I feel like it was elected on by our community, but I wanted to bring something that fit the channel's theme of what we were doing. But it kind of got bad because like people were just playing fun things, and fun things for me is like Trinisphere. So it got really bad. And
But fun things for me is your suffering.
yeah, yeah. But the good bit of news is that people, I think the concept going into that, and I forget why I was encouraged to play that deck. I hadn't elected it myself, but I think the idea was that people would pay to like, because the general concept for that stream was a charity stream is that you could pay money and the proceeds would go to charity to like disrupt the game or influence how the game is played. And some people did
It's
pay
like
to
let
like,
somebody draw reverse turn order, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did. There was some fuckery against me, which is fine.
I mean,
Um,
to be fair, yeah, it's arch enemy chat and the other three people versus Patrick. And to be fair, that is kind of fun.
it was kind of fun. It was like tennis today, where I was king of the hill for the whole goddamn day. But I was playing by myself against doubles. I love playing doubles. I love playing Canadian doubles. It's like Canadian Highlander, not at all.
I'd
Um,
go into what Red Spectre said really quick. So when it comes to the 11-hour game, it's more so that TDH came off as a joke, not because of the 11-hour game, but because people talked about their own experiences about other ridiculous things that happen in TDH. So it was pretty
Curious.
much the community coming together and saying like, "Hey, yeah, here's all the crazy crap that happened." That's that's somewhat fair. I still feel like people built up their own list of stories and then dumping all of them at once just makes it seem worse than it really is, but
Hmm.
that's more fair than just going one bad game equals bad format. So I can agree to that.
Yeah, you remember watching that? I remember playing it. I felt pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. There was a point where it's like, damn, no one's running removal, and I just got this crazy board, and now everyone's hellbent. It's like, ah, shit. When the thing does the thing you want it to do, but it does it way too well, I felt pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. I think I said as much during the live. I tried to make it fun still. At least I was having fun. I really like Tiny Bones. I really did like Tiny Bones at the time. I don't hate people that bring CDH decks. I hate people that hide the fact that they have a CDH deck, like the now banned guy who brought a Glunked deck that had every hate piece in Selesnya. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I try not to hide that fact. The channel's been known for us brewing competitive decks, whether you feel they're competitive or not. Sometimes they slap. The One Ring and the Orcish Bowmaster should be banned. I don't know if they should be banned. I mean, they're already on the whatever list, the
The
watch list,
game changer list
the game
is
changer
Orcish
list.
Bowmaster.
I have to
I know the One Ring
imagine.
is.
I have to
What
imagine. I don't know that they should be banned. And I'm saying this selfishly because every damn game I play, the cards I
it
enjoy
is.
are banned.
It is. It's a game changer.
Yeah, the One Ring's good. I think just the One Ring's generically good. If you think that draw is generically good and should be banned, then yeah, sure, they can ban it. It's
I
4 mana. It's,
I think the One Ring is like on the list of maybe it could be banned, but there's so many other explosive things that you could be doing that the One Ring
yeah,
doesn't cause many problems in the
it's
end. I mean,
pretty
if you look at the
grindy,
Squall
dude.
deck, if you look at the Squall deck we had, it was a grindy deck that sounds like the perfect deck to run the One Ring. I don't think there's any point in the deck where we would have wanted
Want
to
to
have
play it?
tutored the One Ring in that
Yeah,
deck.
tutored or played it. Even if it was in my hand, it's like, oh, okay, I can get Squall out and do some dumb shit next turn, or I can play the One
I'd
Ring and
rather
draw.
keep One Ring in hand to discard to max
Yeah,
hand size.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, so it's deck dependent, but I mean, a lot of people like jamming the One Ring because it's like when you watch. I watch a lot of Pokemon. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna reference Pokemon here. It's like when you see Pheasant Dippany in every single deck, right? There are pain points for cards like that. It's like you're not always going to play it. Be a detriment to you in that game because it's an easy thing to snipe for prizes. In this game, the One Ring, like, it obviously benefits you just for playing it, but it also puts a target on your back. Like, people with advantage usually get targeted, or people that use life as a resource, so on and so forth. There's certain elements that come into play. So I don't see it as like a bad thing necessarily. I think that's why I was hated so much when I was playing Oswald, was the expectation of me just having good stuff on the field was scary. Orcish Bowmasters is good. I don't think it needs to be banned. It's a really
Yeah,
good card.
Orcish Bowmaster is just a very good interaction slash control piece that can sometimes be a finisher. It's Thoracle should probably be banned before Orcish Bowmaster, but I don't even think Thoracle really needs to be banned because it's just a
Just
generically good win con,
yeah, we
and
switch
that's it.
back. We switch back to Labman. That's all
Yeah,
we do. That's
or
all we
Lab
do.
Jace, I guess.
Yeah.
Lab Jace is technically better.
Dude, I would love to do more charity streams. I gotta say, I would play something casual as shit, though. Super casual. Make it almost too casual. I just,
So make 12-hour casual live stream,
yeah,
24-hour live stream, one game of EDH.
yeah. I mean, I forget how that event was run. It was kind of, it's funny, like, the TCG community, nothing is really like hyper professionally run from what I've seen, but that's okay. Like, I think their heart's in it. Their heart's in the right place. I like what Magic's doing now. I feel like they've definitely stepped up their game with a lot of their production, their standard productions, not the stuff they outsource. But man, it's so interesting for such a popular game. I'd love for there to be more community charity streams, and I'd love to participate in them. Um, at any rate, I think that's it for this one. The state of the game right now, kind of the same place it's been for a while. I don't think that TDH is necessarily laughable. You know, it was someone put it interestingly, and sort of Will piggybacked on it. It's just like the shit that you see when you play Commander. I think we all need to remember that it's kind of a casual format first. So when you play in a tournament setting, you'll probably just see dumb shit. I think the things we need to avoid are unsportsmanlike conduct, prolonged games where judges can't step in and intervene. But I think it's in a good place right now, and the same it's been for a long time. I don't necessarily even mind the recent bans. I think that the rules committee have passed maybe got too much heat for it. Um, it's a feel bad when you spend a lot of money on cards and they're banned, but I think the general outburst was maybe just a little too strong. But I
Yeah,
like where the game is now.
I miss Dockside. I honestly don't miss Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt pretty much at all. And Nadu, I never played Nadu, so it's more that I am not playing against Nadu anymore, and I'm kind of happy that Nadu's not here
Nadu
because
was
I
pretty good,
know
dude.
it would kill in the current meta.
Nadu was
Um,
pretty cracked, my guy.
yeah,
Nadu was
man,
pretty damn good.
Dockside is the only one that I miss because Urchin Aranis was a lot better with Dockside, and Tide Pod was a lot better with Dockside.
Mm.
Um, I will say that yeah, CDH is in a very good position right now. TEDH is in a very awkward position. It just needs more structure from Wizards of the Coast. When that happens and we have better structure, better punishments for people who try to like collude to set up tournaments, win trading. Win trading is probably the best way to phrase it. If there was more punishments for things like win trading in tournaments, and if there was more empowerment for judges to make the actual plays that they should be making or make the actual calls that they should be making, then I think that we'd be in a much better place for TDH. But in CDH is in a good place, but we need better tournament setup.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't necessarily make a bad commander, by the way. I would make a casual commander. But I'd honestly make it. I try to make it bad. I'm okay with things being like an uphill climb. I don't need to win
You're just
charity
bring
stream.
out Yargol Multani.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
that would be
hit it with the
fun.
frog.
Hell yeah, that would be super fun actually. And maybe I'll bring a regalia out instead. Isn't that colorless though? That's kind of madness.
It's color. I mean, colorless, but it's a ramp. You might like the chariot one that I brought up, the
Eska?
flicker your stuff one.
Oh, the yes, the color that would be kind of fun. Hope of Girapur would be fun too, but then that would lend to feel bads for one person. There's
Yeah,
not
but
any self like reanimating things in colorless though. You're kind of screwed.
KCI the KCI stuff is the only stuff that does that.
I'm not gonna try that.
I mean, that's why you do the Golden Negosi though.
I gotta be in one color. I would love to play some vehicles though, do some dumb stuff. It'd be cool to do
Yeah.
like a themed Escus Chariot build with just like a bunch of cats. Actually,
I still stand with the fact that I want them to make companions that just say build with a deck restriction, gain another color identity for your commander. That would be an interesting thing to add for commander. It would be super difficult to balance that. So I think that they need to lock it for only monocolor and
Mm.
colorless commanders.
You can include
But
this black card in your deck and get black as an option, but you can't run search effects.
yeah, it's like you can't search your library, something like that. Or like
That would
blue, you
suck.
can't run any instance.
Ooh, what the? I mean, sure. Is it worth splashing in blue at that point? Because like 40% of your deck was
You
going to
still
be
have
instant.
Ristic Study.
I guess if you just want draw, shit. If we're gonna talk about banning cards, can we talk about Ristic Study before the One Ring, please, please? Because I like the One
Patrick,
Ring.
I would happily make Toski Simic if that meant that I could run extra turn spells.
Ooh, yeah. Actually, that's pretty dope. We're not there yet, though. For 2025, we're not there yet. Anyway, guys, this is a fun chat. Obviously, feel free to leave any comments after the video. I try my best to respond to all of these. But yeah, I love this game. Love playing it. Again, normally I play Cube when I'm together with friends. I just like drafting this game a lot and exploring deck themes within a given set. Like I've appreciated that more and more as I've played this game. And I'm getting over the fact that my pull rate on decent cards is trash. It's just trash. I like playing with shit and coming out on top. It is kind of fun. I would love to play some of this Final Fantasy set, but I haven't gone out of my way to like. That's a lie. I went to multiple targets to see if I couldn't get my hands on something. I haven't gone to a game store yet to buy a pre-release kit, but I think that's next for me. Um, any product you're trying to buy? Well,
Uh, it's more so singles than anything else. I'm still
hmm.
trying to finish my my 3 casual decks that I'm making. My Shigeki Turbo Fog, my Old Stick Fingers Jurassic Park, and my Gev Thick Weenies deck.
Mm. Gotta love a thick weenie deck.
Indeed, indeed. He runs a whole lot of 1/1s that become 4/4s because that's how Gev works.
If only they could print the alchemy version of the One Ring and the Orcish Bowmasters. I wish we. Sorry, alchemy made me think of arcane. I wish we got better arcane themed cards to play with. That's my wish. I
Uh,
love.
there is a potential casual deck that you might like as just a concept, Patrick. You may like Imotech KCI as a casual deck because it's
Yeah.
got one card that made a good deal better, which is this Boyo from the racing set. It's not gonna pop up easily. I'll read it out. Uh, Wicker Folk Indomitable. It's just a black creature that you can play from your graveyard by paying 2 life and sacrificing an artifact or creature in addition to paying its other types. With Imotech, when an artifact leaves your graveyard, you make 2 Necrons. So you just always have bodies to sack, and then it lets you do some weird KCI stuff.
Mm,
So it's something that you might like as just a good artifact, build a board, get an engine setup kind of deck.
I like artifacts.
Yeah, it's artifacts. You got good tutors. You get to do
Wasn't there
cool, interesting setup things.
what plays with retrofit or foundry? Oh, it's that new Tezzeret, right? I like artifacts. I like artifact strategies. Unlike slow rolling ones. I wouldn't mind playing with something like that. Bandrog, Thras, and Timna. We can end the stream on that. I
Hmm.
agree. I agree.
Oh
I don't.
yeah, you were talking about retrofit or foundry with the new Tezzeret, the 3 cost Tezzeret.
Right, the new Tez is amazing, dude. They don't know how to
Yeah,
print a bad version of that card. They're like,
I wish that that could have been a commander. Like, if they gave that the text of this could be your commander, I would have loved that so much. But
hundred
it's
percent,
not.
100%. Not yet. Will just give it time. buy the alt version. Give it time. Oof. Please give it to me. All right,
So,
guys.
really quick with the statement of Banrog, Thras, and Timna, I'm fine with keeping all of those around, only because Rog can do disgusting things, but is very easy to counterplay, and Thrasios and Timna kind of lose to stacks. The issue is just you can't play stacks in TEDH.
Yeah, those can all go. I like Rog a lot, though.
Well,
I would ban them in this order: Timna, Thrasios, Rog, if I were to ban any of those. But I really do
yeah,
like Rog.
I would not ban any of them, but yeah, I'd agree Timna is more of like the anti-fun card than out of all the
Yeah,
three.
she's been the worst offender for a while. I mean, like those are just good colors to splash in. Soon they might add planeswalkers to the list. Yeah, exactly, Drax. Hi and
Yeah,
bye. Hey, Mateus. Yeah, yeah. Feel free to leave a comment in the VOD on your thoughts on the 11th hour game, please, please. But I'm sad that you joined now. But next time, next
next
week,
time.
sometime next week,
Yeah. What is next week? Is it going to
4th
be
of
the
July. There's
Jackdaw, or
oh,
is it going to be one of the Final Fantasy commanders?
you have to stay tuned to find out. Probably a vehicle. I don't know. We should try it.
More
We should.
specifically, Jackdaw. I think
Yeah,
it's the most competitive of all the vehicles.
I agree with that. I can
I mean,
agree
we
with
could
that.
do Weatherlight completed and maybe do like a casual KCI deck with that, but it's Jackdaw.
Cool with either of those, honestly.